Good evening and welcome to the February 19th, 2020 legislative meeting of the Town Board. I'm going to ask everyone to please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And I'll ask our clerk to please call the roll.
Draw. Here. Cole. Here. LaFountain.
Present.
Moore.
Here.
Ockett.
Aye. Great. Tonight we're going to start off our communications and announcements in a little bit different way. Over the last couple of weeks, I had the opportunity to meet Nancy Lager, who was with the U.S. Census. And Nancy, actually, I'm going to, as she's coming up, I'll give a little bit of backstory. She is one of the reps, or if not the rep, in this particular area. And Phyllis and I met with her. We've been working very closely with the website and to help get their message out. Certainly the U.S. Census is doing a lot to get that information out to everyone and the importance of being part of and filling out the census. And this evening and later on in, I think, March, she's going to be coming in and join us as well to give us a little update and a little message and a little encouragement. So Nancy, welcome to the Town Board, and let us know the message that you have for us tonight.
Thank you. As you said, my name is Nancy Lager. I am a partnership specialist with the Census Bureau, and I want to talk to you today about the importance of the census. I want everybody to know that the census is important, is easy, and is safe, and we need your help to be able to complete an accurate count. We want to count everyone once and only once and in the right place. And the census will start in March 12th. We will be sending the invitations by mail. Everybody will be invited to respond the census questionnaire online or by phone. If they call, there are 12 languages available for everybody. And as Tony said, the census is very important. It's very important to respond. It is mandated by the Constitution. And we have, based on census data and the information on the questionnaires, the government distributes $675 billion every year for the next 10 years, because the census is only conducted once every 10 years. So it is very important that everybody responds to the census. The second part of the census is jobs. We are hiring thousands of people in Monroe County. The census is paying $20 an hour right now, and for census takers positions, and up to $22 if there is a job office, available. We hire people within the neighborhoods for census taking, so it's really important that people apply in this area so they can work within the neighborhood. They know the neighbors, they know the area, and they can share the importance of the census as well.
So if I had an interest in applying for one of those positions, I would look to be a census taker here in Penfield. I would not be assigned, say, in Spencerport, for instance, or Shiloh or someplace on the west side. I would be close to my home.
Correct. We are hiring within the neighborhood, so we will hire people that apply in Penfield to work in Penfield. And it's really easy to apply. They just can go to 2020census.gov/jobs and apply. We don't need a resume. They just have to answer the questions on the application, and they will be called when the time comes for hiring. We have paid training, and we also pay up to 58 cents per mile for driving.
And if I recall, Nancy, one of the things that you also mentioned is that as someone applies, answers the questions, there's also a background check that you do, because obviously the thing we want to do is make sure that everybody that are census takers have gone through the appropriate screening.
Right. It's really important that everybody gets screened because the census is confidential, and as census employees, we are mandated by Title 13 to soar with confidentiality. Yes. So they will be a background check.
So you mentioned the date of March
12.
March 12th is when things start. And what can I expect on or around March 12th? Am I going to get a phone call? Am I going to get something in the mail?
Yes, you will get a postcard on the mail. And in the postcard, we will invite you to go online or call. There will be a phone number where they can call.
Great. So there'll be two options to do that. Is if I'm computer literate, I can go on and do it that way. I can make a phone call if that's easier. Now, so what happens, your next steps? Will there be a follow-up mail that you'll do, a snail mail, another postcard as a reminder? Kind of what's your process before I get that knock on the door?
Right. There will be up to 4 more reminders, and in the last reminder, there will be a paper questionnaire. They should expect for this to go out at mid to end of April. And the census takers will go to the non-responsive households. So, and they can also, I encourage everybody to go to the library, to the local library if they don't have access to the internet, or, they need some more help. And if they don't want to call or they don't want to answer it online, they can wait for someone to knock on their door.
Okay, very good.
With the census takers, yes.
And what is that final date in order to try to get all of the information in? What is that final date that we have?
It's going to go through the end of July.
Okay, through the end of July.
So they will have, wide opportunity to answer the questionnaire.
Excellent, excellent. If I get that knock on the door and I go to the door, I don't know or recognize that person, is there something I could ask them either to share with me about them being a census taker? Or do they have the appropriate badge or identification or anything like that?
Correct. Every census employee has ID that has the Department of Commerce in it. And if by any chance they do not trust that, they can get the name of the census taker and call the 1-800 number that we have online. We have a website within our website that controls, the accuracy of the census takers.
Excellent.
So there is a 1-800 number that they can call.
Excellent, excellent. Board, other questions for Nancy? So this is not her maiden voyage. This is her maiden voyage, but this is not the last time. We will see her, I'm sure, over the next several months. As I said, Phyllis and I did have the opportunity to speak with her. She provided a bundle of materials, which has been very good, and I know our PCTV and our website team downstairs will be putting up general information prior to our meetings. We'll do some things on the website directing them to links that you have provided us, and our effort is to get the information out to all of our residents, the importance of being counted, and what that means, not only for our representation in Congress, the amount of money that comes here for highway and other projects, and the importance of that for that 10-year period. Correct.
And I encourage everybody to apply on the website, 2020census.gov/jobs. The jobs are flexible. They can work, it's part-time. They can work at night. They can work on the weekends. They make their own schedule.
Excellent, excellent.
Great.
All right. Nancy, thank you very much. Thank you for approaching us and providing the information. If you don't know, there is a lady in the audience who is our librarian, and if you have not had the opportunity to meet her, Bernadette Brickman is our librarian and does a lot of great things at our community center and the library. So if you've not had an opportunity, I would encourage you, the two of you, to at least speak, and we'll continue to spread the word and help get folks not only to fill it out, but also look to help you fill some slots as census takers to, again, make sure that everyone is counted.
Thank you.
All right. And we look forward to seeing you at upcoming town board meetings.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Thank you. Great to see you. And I know that you have a busy, active life, so we recognize that please, exit whenever you're comfortable. You don't have to stay around for the whole meeting. All right, thank you, Nancy. Okay, we'll move on with our communications and announcements, and I'll recognize the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. As provided for in New York State Town Law, I, Amy M. Steckloff, will make the following appointment through December 31st, 2020. Susan M. Scheid, who's in the audience today, as the new Deputy Town Clerk. I'm very excited about giving her this position. She is a very hard worker. She has knowledge of the town clerk's office, as well as a lot of knowledge for our tax receiver department, and I look forward to this positive experience with her.
Great, thank you. Councilwoman Draw?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The New York State Department of Transportation will be conducting a public information meeting for a project designed to enhance the safety and reduce the congestion at the intersection of Atlantic Avenue and 5 Mile Line Road. This open house style information meeting will be held on Tuesday, March 3rd, between 4 and 7 p.m. right here at the Penfield Town Hall, 3100 Atlantic Avenue. Those interested in attending may arrive at any time during the scheduled session to review the current details of the project and provide input. New York State DOT staff will be on hand to answer individual questions. There is no formal presentation as a part of this session, and for further information or to request an interpreter, please contact the project engineer at Howard Russell at area code 585-371-9280 or howard.russell@dotnewyork.gov. And I think that the information might be up on online, so that if anybody needs anything more on this.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Mr. Ockenden.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. A few weather-related public safety announcements tonight. Although, knock on wood, we haven't had too many large snowfalls, it's good to keep a few of these reminders. Wintry weather can create many safety hazards from ice buildup or heavy snowfalls. Two critical items that property owners should be mindful of are their neighborhood fire hydrants and structural heating exhausts. The Adopt a Hydrant program allows citizens to claim responsibility for shoveling out fire hydrants in the event firefighters need to connect to a hydrant for an emergency. Clearing 3 feet of snow and ice from hydrants allow for quick, easy, unrestricted access by first responders. This is critical in helping to save lives and properties. Additionally, most home heating systems have an air intake and exhaust pipe. Blockage of the air intake can cause significant damage not only to the system, but as well to the exhaust vent can be much worse. While most systems will shut down from a blockage of snow and ice, exhaust fumes can easily be forced back into the property beforehand. CO, or carbon monoxide, is odorless, colorless, and tasteless, but can be harmful to people and animals. For this reason, it's vitally important to keep your exhaust vent clear. For more safety tips and information, I urge you to reach out to the Fire Marshal's website through penfield.org for more additional topics.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Moore?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The town board will be holding a public information meeting on the draft conceptual master plan for the Shadow Pines property on Wednesday, March 11th at 7 p.m. here at the town hall. The board received a draft of the Shadow Pines master plan at its work session meeting last Wednesday from BME Consultants and Associates. BME will provide an overview of the draft plan to those on hand at the meeting. There will also be an opportunity to provide input and feedback on the draft plan. Those interested may review the document on the town's website at penfield.org. From the home page, you can click to online documents and then draft documents. The town board will receive comments on the draft plan for 2 weeks following the information meeting to allow residents time to make those comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Cole?
I have 2 announcements. Be sure to save the date. Penfield Community Victory Gardens annual pasta dinner fundraiser is being held next Wednesday, February 26th, beginning at 4:30. Come to the community center on Baird Road for dinner. Takeout's available as well. along with a raffle table to test your luck at some great prizes. Tickets can be purchased in advance by calling 340-8655 or at the door on February 26. And my other announcement is that my next community chat, my monthly community chat, will be Tuesday, March 17th from 5:30 to 7 at the new book area at the library.
Great, very good. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to public participation. There are three ways to address the board. I apologize. You can do that if you're here in the audience at our podium. You can call in at 340-8771, or you can log out at penfield.org. And there are two opportunities, right now and again at the end of the agenda. And I'll ask, is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the board on any matter? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to additions and deletions to the agenda. I'll recognize Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I would like to add to tonight's agenda Resolution 20T-088, entitled Setting a Public Hearing to Consider the Issuance of a Conditional Use Permit to Allow a Hair Salon at 2086 5 Mile Line Road. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
second that.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. This will be recognized as Resolution 20T-088. Excuse me. Our next item is the minutes. We do have the minutes from the January 15th meeting before us, and I would entertain a motion of approval for those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, and I'll ask, is there any discussion on those minutes? Seeing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Thank you. Since the last meeting, has the town board, town attorney, or town clerk received any petitions?
No, sir.
Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to resolution by function, starting with law and finance, please.
Appointment of Craig Shamel to the Board of Assessment Review.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas Craig Shamel at 2042 5 Mile Line Road in Penfield has expressed interest in serving on the Board of Assessment Review. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Penfield appoint Mr. Shamel to fill the vacancy in the remainder of a 5-year term on the Board of Assessment Review, such term to expire on September 30th, 2024.
Thank you. Discussion. See no further discussion. I'd ask for a roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Appointment of Robert Savage to the Board of Assessment Review.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas Robert Savage at 37 Treebrook Drive has served on the Board of Assessment Review for the last 5 years as a member. Whereas Mr. Savage provided great expertise to the Board of Assessment Review, and now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Penfield appoints Mr. Savage to a 5-year term on the Board of Assessment Review here in Penfield, and such term to expire on September 30th, 2025.
Thank you. Discussion. See no further discussion. Roll call vote.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization to attend the Introduction of Fire Investigation training at the New York State Academy of Fire Science.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas Introduction to Fire Investigation Training is to be held on May 4 through 8, 2020 in Montour Falls, New York. Whereas attendance at this conference provides professional training necessary to better educate the community and best practice for fire prevention and life safety. Now therefore be it resolved that Jeffrey David, Penfield Fire Marshal, is hereby authorized to attend the Introduction to Fire Investigation Training. The funds to attend this training is included in the 2020 budget and will not exceed $250. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion. See no further discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Cole.
Draw.
I'm sorry. Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
We're all here.
No worries.
Setting a public information meeting to allow the public to review and comment on the conceptual master plan for the Shadow Pines property.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas the town board has authorized the supervisor to contract with BME Associates with Resolution 19T-196 to prepare a conceptual master plan for the Shadow Pines property on November 6, 2019. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Penfield will hold a public information meeting at the Penfield Town Hall on March 11th, 2020, at 7 p.m. on said date to present said conceptual master plan to the public and to hear all persons and comments regarding said plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Appointment to the Conservation Board.
Moved.
Second.
Be it resolved that Daniel Q. Moore, no relation, be appointed to the Penfield Conservation Board for a term expiring December 31st, 2020.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Further discussion on the other Moore? Okay, seeing no more, I'll ask for a roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization for Town Supervisor to sign a professional service contract with ATIP Control Incorporated for a pond treatment program.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas the town of Penfield sought quotes for professional pond treatment services to obtain the necessary permits from both the United States Army Corps and from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, and complete various treatments for 5 pond locations within the town of Penfield. Whereas quotes were sought and ATIP Control, Inc. was the low bidder. Whereas the board discussed extending this program at its February 12th work session and decided to continue with treatments. Now therefore be it resolved that the supervisor is authorized to sign a contract with ATIP Control Incorporated for professional services not to exceed $24,450.45. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion? Seeing no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization for supervisor to sign a license and hold harmless agreement to allow a fence within a storm sewer easement at 74 Brook Circle.
Moved.
Second.
Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Penfield hereby authorizes a supervisor to sign a license and hold harm agreement with the owners of the property at 74 Bent Brook Circle to permit a fence to encroach onto a storm sewer easement to the town of Penfield located on the property in a form and substance acceptable to the town attorney. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion? Seeing no further discussion, roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Making a determination of non-significance and adopting a negative declaration for the replacement of existing culvert in the Willow Pond neighborhood.
So moved.
Second.
Whereas the town board supports the replacement of 100 linear feet of existing deteriorating and collapsing metal pipe with a new 5x4 precast concrete box culvert located on Courtshire Lane. And whereas the culvert replacement was reviewed and determined that it will not have a detrimental impact on the environment, and the town board is acting as lead agency pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, has classified this proposal as an unlisted action. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby makes a determination of non-significance and adopts a negative declaration for this proposal, and a copy of which is attached hereto and made a part hereof.
Thank you. Discussion? Seeing no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Appointment of Local History Room Advisory Committee.
So moved.
Second.
This is an appointment of Lynn Maris to be on the Local History Room Advisory Committee for the term expiring December 31st, 2020. Lynn's been coming to the meetings and has a big interest in history and local history in Penfield, and she'll be a great asset to the committee.
Great, thank you very much. Additional comments, discussion on this resolution? Seeing none, a roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization for supervisor to sign recreation contracts.
So moved.
Second.
This authorizes the town supervisor to sign one recreation contract. It's for Ken Scott, director of the Penfield Pops Band, for this season.
For the season. Always a great season.
Yes.
All right, further discussion?
No, sir.
Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Thank you very much. This takes us to old business. Is there any old business to come before the board this evening? Seeing none, any new business? And again, I'll recognize the clerk to read the new business item.
Setting a public hearing to consider issuance of a conditional use permit to allow a hair salon at 2086 5 Mile Line Road.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas an application has been received by the Penfield Town Board for the issuance of a conditional use permit pursuant to Chapter 250-5.10B-4 of the code to allow a hair salon at 2086 5 Mile Line Road in the Four Corners zoning district. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Penfield will hold a public hearing at the Penfield Town Hall on March 18th, 2020 at 7 p.m. on said date to consider said application to hear all persons interested in the question of the issuance of this conditional use permit. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing none, a roll call vote, please.
Droll.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Akkinen.
Aye.
5 ayes.
All right, thank you. This brings us to our second public participation opportunity. Again, if you're here in the audience, you can call in at 340-8771, or you can log on at penfield.org. And I'll ask, is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the board on any matter? Okay, seeing none and seeing no further business to come before the board this evening, the February 19th, 2020 legislative session of the board stands adjourned at 7:28 p.m. Thank you to everyone that participated. Thank you to Penfield TV.